President Trump announcing details of a new trade framework with South Korea. Megan Cassella joins us right now with more on that. Megan, good morning.
Becky, good morning. Good morning, guys. Another preliminary deal announced, and again with a top 10 U.S. trading partner. So some top line details here. South Korea will offer a $350 billion investment fund, which President Trump says will be owned and controlled by the U.S. and that he will be the one directing the investments. He also says that Korea committed to $100 billion in LNG purchases, with potentially more investment to be announced in days to come. And in exchange, Trump will then impose tariffs of just 15% on all Korean exports to the U.S., including on cars. So it is a big win there for Korea's domestic auto industry. Now, South Korean officials have offered sort of tepid support for this deal. Its president described it as the country overcoming a major hurdle in striking the agreement, but the government also said that it would support companies in finding new markets. So they like that there's less uncertainty now, but they're also looking elsewhere. Officials also said that the investment fund would support the expansion of Korean companies in the U.S. market, including primarily in shipbuilding, as well as semiconductors, biotechnology, some other categories as well. So stepping back, guys, we're now just about 18 hours from the midnight deadline for higher country-specific tariffs to take effect. Those will impact more than 50 countries. This now is the 7th trade framework deal the president has announced. So you can see in all 7, countries are still seeing a minimum 10% tariff on their exports. Several of them are now committing hundreds of billions of dollars to secure rates of even 15%. So that does seem likely to be the new baseline tariff floor, but we do expect much more to come on this front today. We're still waiting for a number of executive orders to formalize all of this in writing. Guys?
Yeah, Megan, I think those are some of the questions, just the details that come down to this. It's really good to see a lot coming to the table, and maybe countries that are going to avoid some of the worst case scenarios if they didn't have a deal by tomorrow. But I think there's still a lot of questions about it. One of the ones that was kind of circulating today was this idea, like with Japan, the $550 billion that they were going to invest. President Trump has said that that is at his discretion, where those investments will go. Japan later clarified and said these were loans, not investments that they were giving away on some of these. And so I think there's still some big questions in most of these talks, because it normally would take years to work out some of these deals.
Exactly. Major questions. And you're right to key in on the investments, because that's really what the White House has been celebrating the most. But that is also probably the most difficult to enforce. Japan says that they're loans. Korea says that, yes, the president will direct them, but they're also going to have a say. The EU this week, they supplied something like $1.3 trillion in investments, but they also said it's all going to be private. They're not doing anything as a government in order to incentivize it. So then you can't really commit that level of investment. You can promise it and say you're hoping that it comes, but you can't make sure that it is coming. The White House's response when I talked to them about this says, well, if countries don't follow through on the level of investment, then we're just going to raise tariffs back up again. That then makes you wonder how secure really are any of these framework deals, especially because as of yet, none of them are in writing, which makes none of them all that enforceable.